The Productivity Code: How High Performers Get More Done, by Imperium Audiobook. Introduction: The Turning Point. Every morning, the world resets. The clock restarts. And every person alive, from billionaires to dreamers still figuring life out, gets the same 24 hours. But have you ever noticed how some people seem to stretch those hours like elastic? They move through their days with a quiet confidence, ticking off goals, maintaining balance, and somehow still finding time to breathe, love, and grow. Meanwhile, others spend those same hours buried in chaos, exhausted, distracted, and constantly feeling behind. This book isn't about working harder. It's about decoding the system, the productivity code, the invisible formula the high performers use to build momentum, stay focused, and transform ordinary days into extraordinary results. And here's the truth: productivity isn't about filling every second. It's about making every second count. The problem is, most of us were never taught how to manage our energy, our attention, or our purpose. We were told to work smart, but no one handed us the blueprint. We learned to chase deadlines, not direction. We mastered the art of being busy, but forgot the science of being effective. This audiobook is your reset button. It's designed to strip away the noise and help you rediscover control. Every chapter you'll hear is built like a tool, simple, relatable, and rooted in real-life experiences. You'll hear stories of people who've faced burnout and bounced back stronger. You'll learn principles that can help you take command of your time, your mind, and your results. By the time you finish this audiobook, you'll walk away with something more valuable than motivation. You'll have a system, a rhythm that fits you. Because productivity isn't about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about aligning what matters most with what you do daily, whether that's building a business, caring for your family, chasing a dream, or simply trying to feel more in control of your day. So, as you listen to these words, take a deep breath. This isn't just another Get More Done lecture. This is your turning point, a moment to stop surviving your schedule and start mastering your time. By the end of this book, you'll know how high performers think, plan, and act differently. And more importantly, how you can apply their habits to your real life without burning out. Let's begin the journey toward balance, focus, and results. Let's unlock the productivity code. Chapter 1: The Hidden Cost of Busyness. We live in a culture that glorifies movement. Everyone seems to be in a rush, rushing to work, rushing through meals, rushing to chase deadlines, rushing to rest just enough to start rushing again. Somewhere along the line, being busy became a badge of honor, and silence began to feel like failure. We confuse motion for progress and activity for achievement. But here's the uncomfortable truth: busyness is not the same as productivity. Think about the last time you had a day full of tasks, messages, calls, meetings, errands. Yet when night came, you felt strangely unfulfilled. You moved all day, but nothing meaningful moved within you. That's the trap of modern busyness. It makes you feel productive while slowly draining your energy, clarity, and purpose. High performers know something the rest of the world doesn't. They understand that every yes has a cost. Every time you say yes to one thing, you are silently saying no to something else: your focus, your health, your family, your dreams. The question is never, can I do it all? The real question is, what am I willing to sacrifice? Busyness is seductive because it gives the illusion of importance. The constant notifications, endless meetings, and packed calendars make you feel needed, relevant, even successful. But look deeper. Many people fill their days just to avoid confronting their distractions, their fears, or their lack of direction. It's easier to stay busy than to face the discomfort of being still and asking, am I really moving towards something that matters? The first principle of the productivity code is intentionality, the ability to decide, consciously and courageously, what deserves your time. Productivity starts where busyness ends. It begins the moment you stop trying to do everything and start focusing on the things that actually move your life forward. There's a story of a man who spent his whole life climbing a ladder, only to realize too late that it was leaning against the wrong wall. That's the story of so many people today, chasing goals they never chose, following routines they never questioned, running so fast they forgot to ask why. Busyness makes you reactive. Productivity makes you proactive. The difference between the two is intention. High performers don't fill their day, they design it. They know where their energy is strongest, when to say no, and how to create breathing room that allows creativity to flourish. When you slow down with purpose, life starts to speed up with clarity. When you learn to pause, reflect, and realign, your days stop feeling like battles and start feeling like chapters in a story you're actually writing. Take a moment now and think. What are the 3 things in your daily routine that consume time but create no real value? It could be endless scrolling, unplanned meetings, or saying yes to everyone but yourself. Recognizing those leaks is your first act of liberation. The cost of busyness isn't just exhaustion, it's opportunity. Every hour spent on something meaningless steals an hour from your potential. Imagine if even a fraction of your scattered energy was redirected into what truly matters: your growth, your vision, your peace. The truth is, no one will hand you time. You must reclaim it. No one will protect your priorities. You must enforce them. The people who seem calm in chaos, who produce more with less, have mastered one simple truth. Focus is power. When you learn to direct your attention like a laser, the world slows down for you. Distractions lose their hold. The noise fades. You start doing less, but achieving far more. That's the paradox of true productivity. Subtraction creates multiplication. So as we move forward in this audiobook, remember this lesson. Busyness is the enemy of greatness. Every minute spent without purpose is a piece of your empire left unattended. You can keep sprinting in circles or start building something that lasts. The productivity code begins here, in the quiet decision to live deliberately. Slow down, choose wisely, and from this moment forward, don't just move, move with meaning. Chapter 2: The Power of Focused Energy. If time is the currency of life, then energy is the engine that spins it. You can have all the time in the world, a clear calendar, an open schedule, the best productivity tools, but without energy, time becomes useless. It's like owning a high-performance car with no fuel in the tank. You won't go far. Most people talk about managing time. Few talk about managing energy. Yet, when you study high performers, those rare individuals who create, lead, and sustain success year after year, you find that they don't just schedule their hours. They protect their energy with the same discipline a warrior protects his blade. You see, energy isn't just physical. It's mental, emotional, and even spiritual. When you wake up drained, scattered, or uninspired, it doesn't matter how many hours you have. Your output will be fragmented. But when your energy is aligned, when your mind, body, and purpose move in the same direction, you become unstoppable. Let's be honest. The modern world is designed to scatter us. Our attention is pulled in 1,000 directions, from notifications to news, from responsibilities to regrets. Every scroll, every comparison, every unfiltered demand steals a drop from your energy reserves. And then we wonder why we feel tired before the day even begins. True productivity isn't about pushing harder. It's about channeling smarter. The power of focused energy lies in learning to direct your limited resources toward what multiplies your life, not what drains it. Imagine your energy as sunlight. When it's diffused, it warms the surface. But when it's concentrated through a magnifying glass, it can ignite fire. Focus does that. It turns scattered effort into transformative power. But here's the truth most people ignore. Focus is expensive. Every moment you dedicate to something meaningful costs you something else: attention, comfort, or even relationships that no longer align. That's why most people never master it. Focus demands discipline, and discipline often feels like deprivation until the results start showing. Look back at your week. How many times did you start your day with a plan, only to find yourself derailed by distractions that didn't matter 24 hours later? We check one message, then another, then wander into social media, losing minutes that turn into hours. The tragedy is not that we get distracted, it's that we forget how valuable our focus truly is. The high performers, the true masters of the productivity code, treat focus as a sacred resource. They understand that every yes to something small is a no to something greater. They build rituals, not restrictions. They create habits that recharge rather than deplete. Morning routines, quiet spaces, deliberate rest. These aren't luxuries. They are investments. Your brain is not a machine that runs on caffeine and adrenaline. It's a living system that needs rhythm. High performers respect that rhythm. They know that energy follows attention, and attention follows intention. If you begin your day scattered, reacting to the world, you hand over your power. But if you begin with clarity, even 5 minutes of silence, gratitude, or planning, you reclaim authority over your day. Focused energy doesn't happen by chance. It's cultivated through design. Here's the blueprint. Protect your mornings. The first hour of your day sets the tone for everything that follows. Avoid noise, avoid screens, avoid chaos. Start inward, align before you act. Guard your focus windows. Identify the 2 or 3 hours each day when your mind is sharpest. Reserve that time for your most meaningful work. Purge energy leaks. Whether it's toxic relationships, digital clutter, or unfinished commitments, each one drains you silently. Eliminate them. Refuel deliberately. High performers rest with purpose. Walks, prayer, reflection, exercise, these are not escapes. They are refills. When you begin managing your energy instead of your hours, everything changes. You stop living reactively and start operating from strength. You stop chasing productivity and begin embodying it. There's a story about a lumberjack competition where 2 men competed to see who could cut down the most trees in a day. The first man swung his axe relentlessly, sweating and panting, never stopping. The second man paused every hour, taking short breaks. At the end of the day, the second man had cut down far more trees. When asked how, he smiled and said, "I was sharpening my axe." That's what focus does. It sharpens your energy. It allows you to do more with less. Most people burn out swinging harder instead of stopping to sharpen. They confuse motion with mastery. If you want to perform at your peak, learn to protect the flame inside you. Don't let small things steal the fire meant for your destiny. Energy is your most precious currency. Spend it where it matters. When your energy aligns with your mission, you move differently. People will notice. Your actions will carry weight. Your results will compound. You won't need to shout. Your consistency will speak louder than any noise around you. High performers live by this truth. It's not how much you do, it's how deeply you do it. A single focused hour can outweigh 10 distracted ones. The secret is not in doing more. It's in doing what matters most with all of you present. So, before you move to the next chapter, reflect on this. Where's your energy going that's not giving anything back? What do you need to say no to so your yes can have power again? Every empire is built not by endless activity, but by focused intent. Every masterpiece begins when the artist decides what not to paint. The power of focused energy is not in doing everything right. It's in aligning everything you do with what feels right to your soul. From this moment on, refuse to scatter your light. Concentrate it, because the same sun that melts wax hardens clay, and the difference is focus. Chapter 3. Momentum, the secret multiplier of success. There's a moment in every person's journey when everything feels hard, not because they're weak, but because they're starting. The first gym session after months of procrastination. The first early morning after years of sleeping in. The first step toward a dream that still feels impossible. Momentum always begins awkwardly. It doesn't roar in, it whispers. It's those small, ordinary actions that feel insignificant at first. Waking up 5 minutes earlier, turning off the phone when you should be focused, showing up even when no one is watching. But those small things, when repeated, create a force that reshapes your entire life. We often think success belongs to those with talent, connections, or luck. But truthfully, success belongs to those who master momentum. The discipline of not stopping when it still feels pointless. The secret of high performers isn't that they always feel motivated. It's that they've learned to keep moving even when they don't. You probably felt it before, that rush when things start clicking. The energy flows, the wins compound, the day feels effortless. That's momentum at work. But here's the problem. Most people wait for that feeling to start before taking action, not realizing it's action that creates the feeling. Momentum isn't a spark, it's friction. It's born from resistance. Every time you push through an excuse, you build speed. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, you increase trust. Every day you repeat a small victory, you strengthen belief. Picture a train at rest. It takes immense force to get it moving, to overcome inertia. But once it's in motion, it becomes unstoppable. The same principle applies to your life. The hardest part is getting started. Once you do, momentum takes over, and the impossible begins to look inevitable. The productivity code thrives on momentum because it compounds effort. When you align your focus, Chapter 2, with your intention, Chapter 1, consistency becomes your amplifier. What started as one small change turns into a new identity. That's why the most successful people don't just set goals, they build systems. They understand that daily rhythm is more powerful than occasional intensity. It's easy to start strong for a week, maybe two, but momentum is built in the days you don't feel like doing it. Those are the defining moments, the silent victories that the world never sees, but your future self will thank you for. Think of a sculptor chipping away at marble. Each strike alone seems insignificant, but together they reveal a masterpiece. Momentum works the same way. Every repetition sharpens skill. Every habit strengthens belief. Every day you show up, you're carving away everything that isn't you, until what remains is power, pure and refined. There's a story about a writer who promised himself he would write 1 page a day, no matter what. Some days the page was brilliant. Other days it was trash. But he wrote, day after day, year after year, until he looked up one morning and realized he had written a trilogy that sold millions. That's momentum, small, consistent effort that outlasts motivation. High performers know that momentum is not just forward motion, it's emotional gravity. Once it builds, it starts pulling success toward you. Opportunities begin to appear, confidence compounds, and discipline becomes second nature. You no longer have to try to stay consistent. Consistency becomes who you are. But here's the catch. Momentum is fragile. It takes days to build and seconds to lose. That's why protecting it is sacred. Every distraction, every unnecessary delay, every self-sabotaging decision acts like sand in your gears. It doesn't stop you immediately, but it slows your rhythm until you forget what it feels like to move freely. So how do high performers protect momentum? They rely on 3 timeless rules. Never break the chain. Even on your worst days, do something, anything, to keep the rhythm alive. Progress doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to continue. Anchor your wins. Take time to recognize small victories. They feed motivation and create emotional memory, proof that progress is happening. Reset quickly. Everyone stumbles. The difference between those who recover and those who quit is speed. Don't spend a week regretting what you can fix today. Momentum feeds on self-trust. Every commitment you keep strengthens the belief that your word means something. Every time you give up halfway, you weaken that trust. That's why consistency isn't just about success. It's about integrity. It's a daily agreement with yourself. I will show up for me. In real life, momentum often looks boring. It's the quiet routine that no one applauds. It's saying no to distractions, sticking to your plan, showing up when excitement fades. But behind that monotony is the compound interest of greatness. When you understand momentum, you stop chasing motivation and start creating motion. You stop waiting for the right time and start realizing that now is the only time. Because every day you wait to start, the mountain grows taller. But every small step forward makes it smaller than before. Remember this. Momentum doesn't make life easier. It makes you stronger. It teaches you resilience, patience, and rhythm. Once you've tasted its power, you'll never go back to chaos. You'll crave that steady hum of progress, that sense of alignment where effort meets outcome. So if you're tired of starting over, stop stopping. Let your actions stack. Let your days build on each other like bricks of purpose. Soon, you'll look back and realize how far you've come, not because of one grand breakthrough, but because of 1,000 small ones. The high performers aren't superhuman. They're just ordinary people who master momentum. And the moment you choose consistency over comfort, you become one of them. So today, wherever you are, start. Start small. Start messy. Start imperfectly, but start. Because once you do, something powerful awakens inside you. That force that doesn't wait for conditions, that doesn't quit when tired, that keeps moving because it remembers why it began. That's the real engine behind every dream that came true. That's the power of momentum. Chapter 4. The Discipline Blueprint. Building Habits That Stick. Discipline is the quiet architect behind every success story you admire. It's not the flash, not the hype, not the motivation that fades after a few good days. It's the steady rhythm that builds greatness one decision at a time. You can't see it, you rarely celebrate it, but it's there, woven into every win, every breakthrough, every moment of mastery. Most people misunderstand discipline. They think it's about restriction, about forcing yourself to do things you hate. But real discipline isn't punishment. It's freedom. It's the power to control your life instead of being controlled by your impulses. It's the structure that makes success repeatable, predictable, and sustainable. High performers don't rely on willpower. They rely on systems. Because willpower fades, systems don't. You can be motivated for a week, disciplined for a month, but if you design the right environment and habits, you'll stay consistent for life. That's the blueprint. Let's start with this truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Everyone wants success, but wanting isn't the issue. The problem is design. Your habits either build your future or block it. You can dream all day about becoming a better leader, a healthier person, a wealthier individual, but until your daily actions reflect that identity, nothing changes. Think about it. Habits are the silent votes you cast for the person you want to become. Every morning routine, every choice to work or procrastinate, every time you choose growth over comfort, you're shaping your identity. The person you are today is simply the result of the habits you built yesterday. Discipline starts with awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. Look at your days closely. What do you do automatically? What's guiding your behavior when you're not even thinking? That's your real operating system. Now here's the key. Discipline isn't about doing more. It's about doing better. It's not about adding pressure. It's about creating structure. High performers simplify their lives so energy isn't wasted on trivial decisions. They automate what doesn't matter so they can focus on what does. There's a reason why some of the most successful people wear the same outfits, follow strict routines, and schedule their mornings precisely. It's not because they're boring. It's because they understand decision fatigue. Every choice drains mental energy. Discipline conserves it for what truly counts. Let's break down the blueprint of discipline, the process of transforming effort into automatic excellence. 1. Start small but stay consistent. Discipline grows like a muscle. Start with what you can maintain, not what impresses others. Consistency is stronger than intensity. A single push-up done daily beats 100 done once in a burst of motivation. The goal isn't perfection, it's rhythm. 2. Build identity-based habits. Stop saying, I want to be productive. Start saying, I'm the kind of person who values productivity. Identity drives behavior. When you attach habits to who you are, not just what you want, they stick. You don't try to act disciplined. You become disciplined. 3. Design your environment for success. Your environment either empowers you or exhausts you. If your workspace is chaotic, your focus will be too. If your social circle doesn't reflect your goals, you'll drift toward theirs. Surround yourself with cues that support your new identity. You don't have to fight temptation if it never enters your room. 4. Use triggers and anchors. Pair habits with existing routines. For example, meditate right after brushing your teeth, read after your morning coffee, plan your day after breakfast. This links the new behavior to something already automatic, reducing resistance. 5. Track progress, not perfection. Discipline isn't built on flawless execution. It's built on awareness. Keep a record of your wins. Checklists, journals, or digital trackers don't just measure results. They reinforce identity. Every mark you make says, "I showed up." The beauty of discipline is that it compounds quietly. At first, results seem invisible. Then, suddenly, everything changes. That's the magic of compounding habits. One day you realize your focus has sharpened, your mornings are calmer, and your goals no longer feel impossible. But let's be honest, discipline is uncomfortable. There will be days when you want to quit, when comfort whispers louder than purpose. That's where most people stop. But high performers? They understand that discipline isn't about how you feel, it's about what you decided. You act first, feelings follow. When you keep promises to yourself, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. You no longer need outside validation to stay consistent. You become self-fueled. Every kept promise strengthens your self-respect. Every broken one weakens it. Here's the paradox. The more disciplined you become, the freer you feel. Discipline removes decision fatigue. It clears the mental clutter. It gives you structure to channel creativity and energy. Chaos pretends to be freedom, but in truth, chaos is a cage. Discipline is the key that unlocks it. Ask anyone who's mastered a skill, built a business, or transformed their life. They'll tell you, discipline didn't limit them. It liberated them. It removed distractions, amplified focus, and made excellence inevitable. But here's what makes it stick: emotion. Habits without heart fade. When you attach a deep why to your discipline, it becomes unstoppable. Don't just work out for abs. Work out to be strong enough to chase your kids. Don't just wake up early for discipline's sake. Wake up to design a day that excites you. Attach feeling to your focus. Purpose gives persistence power. So, if you've struggled to stay consistent before, don't label yourself lazy. You're not broken, your system is. Redesign it. Start with one small win. Let that win create confidence. Let that confidence create momentum. Let that momentum build mastery. And remember this truth. The gap between average and extraordinary is discipline. The only difference between someday and today is what you choose to do daily. Discipline doesn't demand perfection. It demands presence. It's not about never falling. It's about never staying down. Keep showing up. Keep refining your system. Because every day you do, you're not just building habits. You're building a new identity. And when that identity solidifies, when your habits align with your vision, life begins to feel different, calmer, clearer, more powerful. That's when discipline stops feeling like effort and starts feeling like destiny. Chapter 5. Mastering the mind. Winning the inner battle. The hardest war you'll ever fight isn't against the world. It's against yourself. Your habits, your fears, your old beliefs, your self-doubt. They're all silent forces shaping your destiny. And until you master them, no system, strategy, or productivity hack will ever last. The truth is, most people never lose because they're incapable. They lose because they sabotage themselves long before life ever gets the chance to. They underestimate how powerful their thoughts really are. They think productivity starts with calendars and routines, but it starts in the mind. Every breakthrough you'll ever experience begins there. Your mind is your most powerful asset, but it's also your most dangerous enemy if left undisciplined. It can build empires or burn them down. It can make a minute feel like a miracle or a prison. The question is, who's in control? There's a constant voice in your head, narrating your life. For some, it's supportive and strategic. For others, it's judgmental and relentless. That voice determines how you feel, how you act, how you show up. High performers don't silence that voice, they train it. They teach it to serve them instead of scare them. Most people run on mental autopilot, a program written years ago by teachers, parents, culture, or painful experiences. If you grew up hearing you're not enough, not smart enough, not talented enough, your brain built walls to protect you from pain. But those same walls also keep you from growth. Mastering the mind means rewriting that code. It means catching the lies you believed for too long and replacing them with truth. It means taking ownership of your inner dialogue, because the words you speak to yourself become the limits you live within. Let's be real. Even the strongest people have doubts. Even the most successful wake up some mornings feeling lost. The difference is they don't let their emotions dictate their direction. They've learned the art of self-command. They understand that the mind is like a wild horse, powerful, but only useful when guided. There are 3 internal battles every person must win to achieve real productivity. 1. The battle of belief. This is the war between I can and I can't. Every action you take is filtered through what you believe about yourself. If you believe success belongs to others, you'll subconsciously avoid opportunities that could change your life. Belief isn't arrogance, it's alignment. It's deciding that you belong in the room, that you deserve to try, that your effort matters. The first step to productivity is permission to believe you can. 2. The battle of focus. Your attention is currency, and your thoughts are magnets. Whatever you focus on grows stronger. If you focus on failure, you attract fear. If you focus on progress, you attract possibility. High performers know how to redirect thoughts. They feel anxiety, but they reframe it as energy. They feel pressure, but they interpret it as privilege. Mastering your mind doesn't mean avoiding negativity. It means reprogramming how you interpret it. 3. The battle of identity. This is the deepest one. It's about who you believe you are. You can't outperform your self-image. If deep down you see yourself as inconsistent, lazy, or broken, your actions will always align with that script. The solution isn't motivation, it's transformation. You must consciously build a new identity, one action, one decision, one victory at a time, until the old version of you no longer fits. Mastering your mind starts with awareness. Pay attention to your thoughts. Catch the patterns that drain you. The overthinking, the comparisons, the fears disguised as logic. Every time you challenge them, you weaken their power. Your brain learns through repetition, so feed it truth daily. Speak to yourself the way you'd speak to someone you love. Here's a simple principle high performers live by. You are not your thoughts. You are the thinker. You can observe your emotions without being ruled by them. You can experience fear without surrendering to it. You can choose response over reaction. That's mental mastery, the ability to act with intention even when emotion screams otherwise. But let's be honest, winning the inner battle isn't easy. There will be days when your mind feels heavy, when doubt feels louder than faith. On those days, the only thing that keeps you going is the decision to believe in progress, not perfection. The mind thrives on what you feed it. Garbage in, garbage out. That's why high performers curate their input. They're careful about what they read, watch, and listen to. They protect their peace like it's oxygen, because it is. Every piece of negativity you absorb is a withdrawal from your energy bank. Every bit of wisdom you consume is a deposit. You can't fill your mind with chaos and expect clarity. You can't dwell in fear and expect faith. You can't constantly criticize yourself and expect confidence. Your outer productivity will always mirror your inner state. Train your mind like an athlete trains their body. Start your mornings with gratitude. It rewires your focus. Visualize your goals daily. It activates your subconscious drive. Practice silence. It strengthens awareness. Speak affirmations. They're not magic. They're mental conditioning. The secret of mental mastery is not control, it's compassion. You can't bully your way into greatness. You have to learn to coach yourself with empathy. When you fall short, don't spiral. Observe, learn, adjust, and move forward. The mind listens better to love than to judgment. Winning the inner battle is about reclaiming authorship. You're not a passenger in your mind. You're the driver. You decide which thoughts get airtime. You decide what beliefs become your truth. The more you practice, the easier it gets. Soon, you'll begin to notice how unshakable you feel. Not because life got easier, but because you got stronger. And here's the magic. Once you master your inner world, your outer world rearranges itself. Focus becomes effortless. Discipline feels natural. Momentum flows. You stop chasing productivity and start embodying it. Because productivity isn't about doing more, it's about thinking better. Every great achiever, every visionary, every leader who changed history, they all won this battle first. Before they built empires, they built clarity. Before they managed teams, they managed thoughts. You have that same power. You can rewrite your mind's story starting today. Feed it courage. Train it with purpose. Guard it with peace. Because the real secret to getting more done isn't found in your planner or your to-do list. It's found in your thoughts, the stories you tell yourself every day. And the day you master that, the day you take back control of your mind, is the day everything else begins to fall into place. Chapter 6, Time Alchemy, Turning Hours into Results. Time is the one resource that doesn't negotiate. You can lose money and make it back. You can lose motivation and rediscover it. But once time leaves, it's gone, quietly, permanently. That's what makes it sacred. And yet, it's the thing we waste the most. We scroll. We multitask. We say yes to things we don't mean. We let distractions dictate direction, then wonder why our goals feel distant. But the truth is, we're not bad at managing time. We're bad at managing focus. Because time itself doesn't need control. You do. High performers don't have more hours. They just use theirs differently. They treat time like currency, not confetti. They don't throw it around hoping it lands somewhere useful. They invest it with purpose. Every action, every decision, every pause has intention behind it. Welcome to Time Alchemy, the art of transforming ordinary hours into extraordinary outcomes. It's not about squeezing more tasks into your day. It's about expanding the value of your time. That's what alchemy is. Transformation. And when you master this, you stop chasing time and start commanding it. The first shift, time isn't real, it's perception. Ever noticed how time flies when you're doing something you love? Or how it drags endlessly when you're stuck in boredom or fear? That's because time is emotional. It bends around your state of mind. When you're deeply focused, fully present, you enter flow. Minutes feel like seconds. Hours pass unnoticed. You produce more in 2 focused hours than in 10 distracted ones. That's not magic. That's neurological efficiency. Your brain thrives in focus. But modern life is designed to fracture that focus. Notifications, noise, endless scrolling. Each one steals microseconds, fragments of attention that collectively rob you of momentum. The cost isn't just lost time, it's lost depth. So the first rule of time alchemy: control your attention, and you control your time. You can't manage the hours until you master the minutes. The second shift, the law of intentional hours. Most people measure their day by how much they do. High performers measure it by how much matters. Ask yourself, what are the 20% of actions that create 80% of your results? That's the essence of the Pareto principle, a rule the world's best performers live by. They don't try to do everything. They find a few things that move the needle and protect those ruthlessly. You don't need a longer to-do list. You need a shorter, more meaningful one. Because busyness is the enemy of achievement. Every yes is a hidden no to something else, something possibly more important. Every morning, before the world starts pulling at your attention, take 5 minutes and ask, what 3 things would make today feel meaningful if I completed them? That's your productivity compass. If you do those 3 things with full focus, you've already won the day, regardless of how many emails remain unanswered. The third shift, time blocking, structure sets you free. Freedom doesn't come from flexibility, it comes from structure. High performers schedule their priorities, not just their meetings. They block chunks of time for focus creation, reflection, and even rest. Why? Because if you don't plan your time, someone else will. Time blocking is simple. Divide your day into zones: creative work, admin, rest, personal. Guard each zone like sacred territory. When it's creation time, go all in. When it's rest, unplug completely. Don't blur the lines. Discipline is the gateway to flow. Paradoxically, the more structure you build, the freer you become, because now your time serves you. The fourth shift, energy over hours. You don't perform based on how much time you have. You perform based on how much energy you have. Time management without energy management is useless. You can have 10 free hours, but accomplish nothing if your energy is drained. Conversely, a focused, energized hour can produce magic. That's why elite performers guard their physical, mental, and emotional fuel. They sleep deeply, move their bodies, hydrate, eat with intention, and unplug when needed. They understand one truth. Energy is the multiplier of time. Pay attention to your energy rhythms. Are you sharper in the morning, afternoon, or evening? Align your hardest work with your natural peaks. Don't fight biology, partner with it. The fifth shift, the power of no. Every yes you give takes a slice of your future. You can't do everything, and you're not supposed to. Saying no isn't rejection, it's protection. High performers understand that clarity comes from boundaries. They know what aligns with their purpose and what doesn't. They say no to opportunities that dilute focus, no to conversations that drain energy, no to guilt-driven commitments that rob peace. Every time you say no to distraction, you say yes to direction. That's how time alchemy works. It's not about doing more, it's about preserving what matters most. The sixth shift, the compound effect of micro wins. Here's something people miss. Greatness isn't built in giant leaps. It's built in micro wins stacked daily. 5 focus minutes here. 1 meaningful conversation there. 1 task fully finished instead of 10 half done. That's how results compound. If you improve your use of time by just 1% each day, that's a 37x improvement in a year. That's alchemy. The transformation of consistency into greatness. Don't chase perfect days, chase progressive ones. The final shift, protecting the present. All the planning in the world means nothing if you don't live the moment you're in. Time alchemy isn't about squeezing life dry. It's about expanding it. It's about reclaiming attention from the chaos and saying, I'm here. Now, whether you're working, resting, or spending time with someone you love, be there fully. Because presence is the ultimate productivity. When you live with presence, your time multiplies. You remember more, feel more, achieve more, not because you rush through hours, but because you actually inhabited them. That's the secret high performers understand. They're not faster, they're fuller. Every hour they live is rich with clarity, energy, and purpose. And the beautiful thing? You can start today. Start by protecting the first hour of your morning. No distractions, no chaos. Start by choosing 1 meaningful task to finish before noon. Start by ending your day intentionally. Reflect, breathe, recharge. Because every hour you live with purpose is an investment in your legacy. Time alchemy isn't about chasing more hours. It's about transforming the ones you already have into something powerful. You don't need more time. You need more intentionality. Once you grasp that, everything changes because you realize time was never slipping away. It was just waiting for you to claim it. Chapter 7, The Power of Systems, Building a Life that Runs Itself. If willpower is the spark, systems are the engine. Every person starts with motivation, that electric rush of possibility when we decide to change our lives. But motivation fades. It's emotional. It depends on how you feel, what's happening around you, or how much sleep you got last night. Systems, though, they don't care about your mood. They don't rely on inspiration. They simply work. That's what separates the overwhelmed from the organized, the dreamers from the doers, the hopeful from the high performers. Because at some point, you realize this truth. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. Think about it. Everyone wants to be productive, healthy, successful, consistent. Everyone sets goals. Lose weight, save money, build a business, stay disciplined. But why do most people fail after a few weeks? It's not because their goals were wrong. It's because their structure couldn't support them. They relied on effort instead of environment. They kept trying to fight human nature instead of designing around it. Systems are how you remove friction from your life. They turn chaos into rhythm. They make progress predictable. High performers don't trust motivation. They trust structure. They automate what drains them, simplify what distracts them, and standardize what matters most. Their daily habits aren't random. They're engineered. The hidden magic of systems. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain loves systems. It craves predictability. Every decision you make, from what to wear to what to eat, costs mental energy. And when you burn too much energy on small choices, you have less left for what truly matters. That's called decision fatigue, and it's one of the greatest productivity killers in the modern world. That's why successful people simplify their lives. They wear similar outfits. They have morning rituals that don't change. They plan meals, workouts, and even downtime. Not because they're boring, but because they've learned that freedom lives inside structure. When you create repeatable processes for your life, you free your brain to focus on creativity and problem-solving instead of constant decision-making. Your system becomes your silent assistant, one that never complains, never forgets, and never burns out. Step 1. Identify the repetitions. Start here. Look at your daily and weekly patterns. What do you do over and over again, consciously or not? Every repeated action is an opportunity for a system. Do you check emails 20 times a day? Systemize it. Block 2 focus sessions instead. Do you waste time planning your meals every morning? Systemize it. Create a weekly meal plan every Sunday. Do you forget your content ideas halfway through the week? Systemize it. Store them in one organized place. The most powerful systems aren't complex, they're consistent. Step 2. Simplify and automate. Every task you repeat can be simplified, delegated, or automated. Use technology to work for you, not against you. Schedule bills, reminders, posts, reports, anything that eats mental bandwidth. The modern world gives you tools for almost everything, but few use them strategically. High performers do. They set automation not just to save time, but to save thinking time. Because thinking is where creativity lives. And when your brain isn't buried under repetitive clutter, it can breathe again, it can create, innovate, and lead. Step 3. Design for momentum. A system isn't just a process, it's a trigger. Think of a gym bag placed by the door every night. That's a system that triggers consistency. Think of a journal placed beside your bed. That's a system that triggers reflection. Think of a no work after 9 p.m. alarm. That's a system that triggers recovery. The best systems aren't mechanical, they're behavioral. They make the desired action the easiest one. That's the secret. If success feels hard, it's not because you're weak, it's because your environment is working against you. Build systems that make the right choice frictionless and the wrong choice inconvenient. That's how high performers design their days. Step 4. Build feedback loops. You can't improve what you don't measure. Systems thrive on feedback, a simple rhythm of tracking and adjusting. Whether it's your finances, fitness, or focus, track your progress weekly. Ask yourself, what's working? What's wasting time? What can be automated further? The goal isn't perfection, it's evolution. High performers refine their systems constantly, not because they failed, but because they're optimizing. That's why they grow faster than others. They don't wait for a crisis to adjust. They improve proactively. Step 5. Protect the system. Once you've built systems, your next job is to protect them. Don't let temporary chaos dismantle your structure. Life will get messy. Unexpected calls, delays, emergencies, but that doesn't mean your system should vanish. Think of your systems as your anchor. They keep you steady even when the storm hits. When motivation drops, your system carries you. When emotions waver, your system guides you. When distractions appear, your system shields you. That's the quiet power of structure. It saves you from yourself. Real life example. Let's make it real. Imagine 2 people, both want to write a book. The first says, I'll write when I feel inspired. The second sets a system, writes 500 words every morning at 6 a.m., no matter what. 6 months later, the first person has a few scattered pages. The second has a completed manuscript. That's the difference. Not talent, not luck, just systems. Because systems create inevitability. They turn dreams into processes, and processes into results. Systems create peace. When your life runs on systems, something magical happens. Peace. You no longer live in constant mental traffic. You stop waking up anxious about what to do next. You trust the flow you've designed. You feel calm, clear, grounded. You operate from intention, not reaction. And that's the ultimate goal of productivity, not just to get more done, but to feel more at peace while doing it. You can always spot a high performer, not because they're busy, but because they're balanced. Their life hums with rhythm. Their energy feels stable. They move with quiet confidence because their systems carry the weight. So take this chapter as your call to action. Stop trying to do everything manually. Stop relying on raw effort. Start designing your success. Because in the end, true productivity isn't about being a machine. It's about building one around you that supports your humanity. Systems aren't cold, they're compassionate. They free your time, protect your focus, and give you room to live. You don't have to fight your days anymore. You just have to design them. Once you do that, your life begins to run not on pressure, but on purpose. Chapter 8, Focus Mastery, the Art of Single-Task Domination. We live in the loudest age in human history. The world hums, pings, vibrates, and flashes 24 hours a day. Every screen begs for your eyes. Every app competes for your brain. You can't even sit in silence without 1,000 digital whispers asking, "Still there?" Focus, once a natural state, has become a rebellion. And yet, in that rebellion lies your greatest edge. Because in a world addicted to distraction, focus is a superpower. The cost of fragmented attention. Let's get real. Distraction doesn't just steal time, it steals depth. You can spend 8 hours working and still produce the value of 2 if your attention keeps splintering. Every time you check your phone, scroll a feed, or glance at an alert, your brain switches context. Research shows it can take nearly 20 minutes to regain full concentration after just one small interruption. Multiply that across a day, you're losing entire hours to recovery. But it's deeper than that. Constant distraction rewires your brain. It trains you for shallowness. It makes patience feel painful, silence feel awkward, and real thought feel slow. That's why so many people can't finish what they start anymore. Their minds aren't broken, they're just overstimulated. High performers know this. That's why they treat attention like currency. They protect it, direct it, and spend it with intention. Single-task domination. The myth of multitasking is one of modern life's greatest lies. You don't multitask, you task switch. And every switch costs mental bandwidth. Focus mastery begins when you reject that lie and commit to single-task domination, doing one thing fully until it's done. When you give total presence to a single task, something magical happens. Time dissolves. You enter flow. You stop counting minutes because you're immersed in purpose. Single tasking isn't about slowness, it's about depth. Depth produces quality. Quality builds trust. And trust compounds into results. If you can train your brain to stay with one thing, you'll outperform people working twice as long, but half as focused. Creating a focus ritual. Focus isn't an accident, it's a ritual. Every high performer has one, a sequence that signals to the brain, it's time to go deep. Here's a simple one you can model. Clear your space. Physical clutter breeds mental noise. Tidy your desk, closing used tabs, silence notifications. Set a clear intention. Write down exactly what you're about to do and why it matters. Purpose anchors attention. Set a timer. Try 45 minutes of immersion followed by a short break. The timer turns focus into a game. Breathe before you start. Just 30 seconds of slow breathing tells your body you're safe to focus. Reward completion. Celebrate small wins. Your brain learns that focus feels good. Over time, these cues train your mind to slip into flow faster, like a muscle remembering its movement. The environment equation. Your environment shapes your focus more than your willpower does. Want deep work? Design for it. Keep your phone in another room. Block distracting websites. Use headphones or ambient sound to build a bubble of concentration. Let people know your no interruption hours. Your environment should whisper one message: stay here. Even the smallest visual or digital distraction can fracture your train of thought. So build an environment that makes focus the default, not the struggle. Managing digital overload. Technology isn't the enemy. Unfiltered access is. Use tech like a tool, not a tether. Schedule check-ins for messages instead of living in your inbox. Unfollow accounts that add noise. Turn off non-essential alerts. Keep your phone screen grayscale during work hours. You'll be amazed how much temptation vanishes when color disappears. Remember, every app is designed to keep you scrolling. Every notification is someone else's agenda. Take your attention back. The flow state. You've probably felt it before. That electric immersion where effort feels effortless. Hours vanish. Ideas connect. You feel alive. That's flow, and it's the ultimate form of focus. Flow happens when challenge meets skill, when what you're doing is hard enough to stretch you, but not hard enough to break you. It's the mental sweet spot of growth. To reach it consistently, work in uninterrupted blocks. Tackle one meaningful challenge at a time. Eliminate quick dopamine habits before deep sessions. Track when you hit flow and replicate the conditions. Once you taste flow regularly, distraction starts to feel toxic. You'll crave that deep sense of alignment, that silent hum of purpose. Rest is part of focus. True focus requires recovery. Your brain can only maintain deep attention for so long before performance drops. That's why elite performers schedule rest on purpose. They treat recovery as a discipline, not a luxury. Take short mental breaks. Step outside. Stretch. Hydrate. Even a brief pause resets neural pathways and refuels energy. Burnout isn't caused by working too hard. It's caused by working without rhythm. Training the muscle. Focus is like strength. You build it through reps. Start small. 10 minutes of complete concentration. Then 20. Then an hour. Each session trains your neural circuitry for endurance. At first, your mind will resist. It will beg for the dopamine of distraction. But every time you say no, you grow stronger. Every time you stay with discomfort, you stretch your capacity for greatness. Over time, you won't just do focus, you'll become focus. The peace beyond productivity. The ultimate reward for mastering focus isn't just getting more done, it's inner peace. When your mind stops scattering across 1,000 tabs, you begin to feel grounded again. You notice details, conversations, life itself. Focus pulls you back to presence, the only real moment that exists. And from that presence comes power. Because when you can give your full attention to what matters, you start living with clarity, confidence, and calm. You stop chasing noise and start creating meaning. Your next challenge. This week, choose one task each day to do with complete presence. Phone away. Notifications off. One task. One goal. Track how you feel afterward. Not just what you achieved, but how centered you feel. That feeling, that quiet mastery, is the foundation of every great result you'll ever create. Because the truth is simple. You don't need more time. You don't need more tools. You need more focus. And once you master that, you'll realize the world doesn't belong to the busiest. It belongs to the most present. Chapter 9. The Discipline Blueprint. Building consistency that lasts. Motivation gets you started. Discipline keeps you moving when motivation dies. Every high performer knows this truth. Success isn't about how fired up you are today. It's about what you do on the days you don't feel like it. That's the quiet power of discipline, doing what's necessary, even when it's not exciting. Because enthusiasm fades. Passion fluctuates. But discipline is the bridge between goals and achievement. The myth of motivation. Let's start by killing a myth that's been sold to you your whole life. That you need to feel good to take action. The reality is, feelings are fickle. They shift with sleep, weather, hormones, stress, even diet. If your progress depends on motivation, you'll be ruled by inconsistency. Discipline, however, is built on decision, not emotion. It says, I do this because I said I would. It's not about being robotic. It's about being reliable, especially to yourself. True self-respect isn't built by self-love quotes. It's built by keeping promises you make to your own future. The psychology of consistency. Why do some people stick with routines effortlessly while others can't last a week? It's not willpower, it's identity alignment. When your actions match who you believe you are, consistency becomes natural. If you see yourself as a disciplined person, every choice that reflects that identity reinforces the loop. This is called the identity behavior feedback loop. Identity, behavior, evidence, reinforced identity. Every small disciplined act becomes proof that your identity is real. You don't need massive transformation, just daily alignment. Want to become a disciplined person? Start acting like one before you feel like one. The feelings will catch up later. The power of structure. Discipline thrives on structure. When your environment and systems are solid, you don't need to negotiate with yourself every morning. Look at elite athletes, military operators, or peak performers. Their lives are built around rituals and routines that remove friction. They don't wake up asking, "Should I train today?" They train because that's who they are. Structure creates freedom. It might sound paradoxical, but it's true. When you automate your discipline, you liberate your mind to focus on growth. Start small. Wake up and start your morning the same way every day. Schedule your most important work during your peak focus hours. Simplify decisions. Same breakfast, same workout schedule, same daily planning ritual. The fewer decisions you make, the stronger your discipline becomes. Emotion versus execution. One of the biggest traps of modern life is emotional decision-making. I'll do it when I feel ready. I'll start when I have more energy. I'll wait until inspiration hits. That mindset kills momentum. High performers operate differently. They separate emotion from execution. They act first, feelings later, because feelings often follow motion. Once you start moving, motivation wakes up. So when your brain says, "Not today," your body should already be in motion. You don't wait for discipline. You become disciplined. Micro wins, massive momentum. You don't build lifelong consistency by giant leaps. You build it through tiny, repeatable victories. Each time you follow through on something small, your brain records success. That micro success becomes momentum, which compounds over time. Here's the formula. Tiny action, confidence, momentum, transformation. You don't need to run a marathon to become disciplined. You just need to put on your shoes and step outside daily. You don't need to write a book in one sitting. You just need to write one paragraph every morning. Discipline grows through repetition, not intensity. The friction formula. Every habit you build or break is governed by friction. If you want to do something consistently, reduce friction. If you want to stop something, increase friction. Example, want to work out more? Lay out your clothes the night before. Want to scroll less? Delete apps or keep them far from reach. Want to read more? Keep a book on your desk or bed. Discipline doesn't rely on willpower. It relies on design. Because willpower is like a battery. It drains throughout the day. But a system, a preset design, runs even when energy is low. The disciplined aren't stronger. They're just smarter with friction. The pain of regret versus the pain of discipline. Let's be honest, discipline hurts sometimes. It's uncomfortable to wake up early, to say no to comfort, to push when you'd rather coast. But there are two kinds of pain in life, the pain of discipline and the pain of regret. Discipline pain weighs ounces. Regret weighs tons. The pain of saying no to distraction lasts minutes. The pain of realizing you wasted potential lasts years. Choose your pain wisely, because one builds you, the other breaks you. The three pillars of unbreakable consistency. Clarity, know exactly what you want. Vague goals kill discipline. Commitment, decide once, don't redecide daily. Accountability, track your progress or share it with someone who will hold you to it. When you combine clarity, commitment, and accountability, momentum becomes self-sustaining. Write your vision where you can see it daily. Track your actions visibly, a wall calendar, journal, or app. Each checkmark becomes dopamine that fuels the next step. Discipline and self-trust. Every time you keep a promise to yourself, your self-trust grows. Every time you break one, it weakens. This is why inconsistency breeds self-doubt. You start questioning your own word. But here's the good news. Self-trust rebuilds fast. 1 week of pure consistency can reignite confidence that was buried for years. Discipline isn't punishment. It's proof that you can rely on yourself. And that's where freedom lives. Discipline without burnout. Let's clear something up. Discipline doesn't mean intensity 24/7. It means alignment. You're not a machine. You're human. Even high performers rest intentionally. They structure recovery the same way they structure work. Rest isn't the opposite of discipline. It's part of it. Consistency doesn't mean you never pause. It means when you pause, it's planned. Learn your rhythm. Push, recover, push again. That's how you stay consistent for years, not weeks. Identity shift, becoming the disciplined one. The final stage of discipline mastery isn't forcing habits. It's becoming the kind of person who does them automatically. When you identify as the person who doesn't miss, you no longer battle yourself. You eat clean because you're someone who respects energy. You train daily because you're someone who honors growth. You stay focused because you're someone who values time. That's how discipline evolves from effort to identity, from an external rule to an internal truth. You'll know you've arrived when consistency feels like breathing. Your next challenge. For the next 7 days, pick one action you'll do daily. Something small but meaningful. No skipping. No excuses. Each day you do it, mark an X on your calendar. Watch the chain grow. That chain is your new identity forming, one action at a time. Discipline isn't built overnight. It's built every night you show up when you could have quit. And that's how greatness is born. Not from fireworks, but from the quiet rhythm of a consistent heartbeat. Because when motivation fades, when noise rises, when comfort calls, discipline whispers back. We move anyway. Chapter 10, The Momentum Engine, turning small wins into unstoppable progress. By now, you've seen that productivity isn't about doing more. It's about becoming more. It's not about the number of hours you work, but the amount of purpose you pour into each one. You've learned how clarity sharpens focus, how discipline builds consistency, and how intention fuels action. But there's one final element that transforms everything you've learned into something alive. It's called the momentum engine. Momentum isn't an accident. It's not luck nor inspiration. It's a system you build brick by brick, decision by decision, until your life moves forward almost automatically. Every high performer on earth, from elite athletes to visionary creators, from CEOs to dedicated parents, relies on the same invisible force. They've learned how to keep their engine running, even when others stall. And today, you'll learn how to build yours. 1. The anatomy of momentum. Momentum has 3 gears: start, sustain, and scale. Most people only master the first one. They start strong, new goals, new planners, new playlists, but they never learn how to sustain that energy. High performers, however, know that momentum is a rhythm, not a rush. It's the steady hum of daily motion that compounds into progress. Your life is an engine. Every action is a gear. Every decision either adds fuel or burns it. You're either feeding your engine or stalling it. 2. Start, igniting the spark. Every breakthrough begins with ignition. That spark could be a vision, a frustration, or even a moment of truth when you finally decide that the old way isn't enough. Starting doesn't require perfection. It just requires permission. Permission to be imperfect, to begin messy, to start without clarity. The moment you take that first small step, that's ignition. That's when your potential wakes up and whispers, finally. Because life doesn't reward hesitation. It rewards movement. You don't need to see the whole staircase. Just take the first step, and the next one appears. 3. Sustain, protecting the flame. Ignition is easy. Sustaining it is art. Sustaining momentum is about emotional management, knowing how to keep your engine running even when excitement fades. There will be days when motivation disappears, when your results feel invisible, when the world seems to move faster than you do. Those are not signs of failure. They're tests to see if you can keep your engine alive when the wind dies. That's where discipline takes over. You no longer rely on mood. You rely on movement. Every small action you repeat becomes a spark plug. Every habit becomes an energy loop feeding the engine. If you treat your routines like sacred rituals, momentum never dies, it evolves. And here's the secret. The harder it feels, the closer you are to a breakthrough. Resistance doesn't mean stop. It means you're growing through friction. 4. Scale, building unstoppable flow. Once you've mastered the rhythm of consistency, scaling happens naturally. Momentum is exponential, not linear. When your habits stack, your confidence compounds. When your systems stabilize, your time multiplies. When your focus deepens, results explode. That's how you move from effort to ease, from struggle to flow. You begin to operate from intuition, not instruction. You trust your systems because they've proven themselves. You stop chasing productivity and start embodying it. You no longer work harder, you work truer. And when you live from that place, everything aligns. Your health, your relationships, your vision. Because momentum doesn't just transform performance. It transforms identity. 5. The hidden cost of stopping. Here's what most people never realize. When you stop, you don't just pause progress, you break trust. Every time you start over, you're rebuilding belief from scratch. That's why starting again always feels harder, because you've lost the rhythm that once carried you forward. Your job is to protect momentum like it's sacred. Guard your mornings. Guard your mindset. Guard your habits. The world will always try to interrupt you with noise, distraction, doubt, and fatigue. But if you hold your rhythm through the storm, you'll emerge with something rare, unbreakable self-trust. Because once your engine runs long enough, it stops needing fuel from others. It runs on belief, conviction, and vision. 6. How to feed the engine daily. Momentum isn't magic, it's maintenance. Here's your blueprint. Fuel with focus. Start each day with one clear priority. Don't chase noise. Protect your power. Sleep, hydrate, and move. Your physical energy sustains your mental energy. Stack wins. End each day with a record of one thing you did right. Small victories compound fast. Audit and adjust. Every Sunday, check your progress. What worked? What slowed you down? Fine-tune constantly. Guard the input. Your environment is the oxygen for your engine. Surround yourself with people and content that push you forward, not drain you. Momentum is built in a micro, in those 5-minute decisions that seem small but echo across your future. 7. When the engine feels empty. Every achiever hits a wall. It's inevitable. The key isn't to avoid burnout. It's to recognize when your engine needs a pit stop. You can't run full throttle forever. Even machines need oil. Step back. Reflect. Refuel. Rest doesn't kill momentum. Neglect does. When you rest intentionally, you come back sharper. Momentum isn't lost during rest. It's preserved through recovery. Remember, productivity without balance isn't success. It's survival. 8. The infinite loop. Here's the real secret. The momentum engine never stops evolving. Every time you grow, the system recalibrates. What used to challenge you becomes your warm-up. What once felt impossible becomes your new normal. And that's how you keep ascending, not by chasing intensity, but by mastering iteration. Consistency turns into confidence. Confidence turns into flow. Flow turns into legacy. That's the true power of the productivity code. The transformation from doing to becoming. The final call to action. If you've made it this far, you're no longer just a listener, you're a builder. You now carry the blueprint of high performance in your hands. But remember, wisdom means nothing without application. This book isn't meant to inspire you for a day. It's meant to reprogram the way you live for a lifetime. So here's your challenge, your next move. For the next 30 days, run your momentum engine. Pick one area of your life, health, focus, business, or relationships, and apply everything you've learned here. Start small. Stay consistent. Track your daily wins. And when you hit resistance, keep going. Because by the end of those 30 days, you won't just be more productive. You'll be rewired. You'll feel it. That steady hum of confidence, that rhythm of purpose, that energy that says, I'm finally moving toward who I was meant to become. You'll stop surviving and start operating. You'll stop chasing motivation and start creating momentum. And once your engine is alive, it doesn't stop. It carries you forward into bigger visions, bolder goals, and deeper peace. This is the end of this audiobook, but it's also the beginning of your next chapter, the one you write with your own actions. So take a deep breath, stand tall, look forward, because the world doesn't need more dreamers. It needs finishers. And your momentum starts now. Headphone, this has been the Productivity Code. How high performers get more done, produced by Imperium Audiobook. If this message resonated with you, follow us for more life-changing audiobooks, lessons, and tools that elevate your daily performance. And remember, don't wait for perfect conditions. Build your own momentum.